Hello and welcome to the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. My name is Erwin Cito. I'm a Canadian, a residential real estate investor since 2005. And in my experience, the investment that has gotten my over 350 clients ahead in life via direct ownership of real estate, as in they own the property themselves. They don't share it with anyone except for them in the bank. They manage it themselves or they hire a property manager, and they grow their portfolios by borrowing, honestly, cheap money from the bank. My team here at iWIN Real Estate has been coaching clients to do so since 2010, and it's been a great run. It's been over 13 years. Yesterday, I was supporting one of my clients who I've helped acquire several properties whose tenant has not paid rent in 13 months. Even though they went on a landlord-tenant board 5 months ago, they still don't have their order for the sheriff to evict the tenant. He also shared with me how his rental portfolio is the highest source of stress in his life. Another client, a real estate mortgage professional, he's had a minor basement leak in one property, and it was a brand new property, turnkey investment property that was renovated, and he bought it that way. He's got, like I mentioned, he's got a minor leak, and in his other brand new renovated basement apartment, the tenant has moved out. That was now a few months ago, because the floors are out of whack, having been installed onto an uneven floor by the basement renovation company that he hired. The tenant said that the flooring edges are sharp and too dangerous for their baby to be crawling around on. I don't blame him for moving out. My client is back and forth with the flooring manufacturer and the general contractor, and it's been months. The truth about real estate investing is it can be very stressful at times, and these times are especially challenging with housing inflation kind of out of control. Rates are at historic highs. People are in more debt than they've ever been. I have my own stories too, but that's for another day. But none of the stress is why I got into real estate in the first place. I started investing as an alternate source of income. I would side hustle as a real estate investor for a return of more freedom. I'd have to sacrifice a bit in the present for more freedom down the road and more control over my finances. And I bring my clients along for the same journey. It's always my job as chief investment officer of my household and for my clients to find ways to optimize their portfolios, including reducing their risk. In the current environment with inflation, rent control, a dysfunctional landlord-tenant board, for those who don't know, it is currently 8 months in Ontario to get a hearing should a tenant not pay rent or other reasons they're disrupting or damaging the property. And in turn, it's the same problems for the tenants as well. If like the landlord's not dealing with a cockroach issue or basic maintenance to make sure the property is livable and safe and clean, they're also dealing with the same problems we are. And it's quite sad, honestly. As I mentioned, interest rates are elevated. Add to that how anti-landlord the politicians and the media are. I don't feel in control anymore. Hence, I'm seeing the writing on the wall. Cherry and I are selling several, if not all, of our rental properties in Ontario to take profits, pay off debts, raise cash, to take advantage of opportunities, mostly in landlord-friendly locations in and around the top 10 cities for investment in the USA. Both Americans from California and New York, along with many Canadians I know, are doing the same. Many of you are posting on my social media and DMing me as well that you're doing the same. I've seen many of you at conferences and events who are doing the same, looking to invest in Sunbelt states. The business environment in certain states that where I will be targeting, like the top 10 places to invest, of course, they offer better numbers and less risk to pretty much any Canadian investment that I've looked at. For example, I was just talking to my friend who invests in Calgary. He was telling me that the greater Calgary area, so don't quote me or him, greater Calgary area is about 1.5 million people. I just got back from Atlanta. The greater Atlanta area is 6.2 million people, right? I like less risk, so I will choose to invest in large outside major metropolitan areas where they have experiencing massive job growth. Anyways, at my stage in career, I've invested in over 40 plus houses. I've done many advanced burrs. I've done top ups. I've done basement apartments. We've helped clients through garden suites. My last major reno had asbestos, cockroaches, a leaking basement, all of the above, right? Had to replace the boiler. List goes on and on. Anyways, now because I know that I can cash flow better on single family homes in the US, specifically the cap for those apartment building investors or those who know numbers well for real estate investing, I can get a single family home with a 5 or 7 percentage cap rate. And those are the same cap rates that past guests of the show do with apartment buildings. So they're buying, 10, 30, 60 unit buildings. And it takes them roughly between 5 and 10 years of renovating, turning over tenants in apartments in order to get the same types of returns. I don't need to go through the same sort of challenges, nor do I need to shell out as much capital. So I'm choosing a path of less resistance and what I would consider less risk for the same percentage returns. I have finally found financing. I finally found easy financing in the States. It's actually, now that it's actually easier to get a mortgage in the US than it is in Canada. Scott Dillingham of Lend City, who I've been working for with many years, he used to work at one of the biggest banks. He used to be the number one mortgage broker at that bank. I've been getting mortgages with Scott for years. So he shared with me this past summer that he would soon be able to offer easy commercial style mortgages for Canadians to invest in. And basically you can have an unlimited number of American income properties. No US credit needed. Investing in real estate without mortgages makes little sense to me. It's leverage that makes real estate a very lucrative investment. Hence, I've never taken any U.S. investing seriously. I always knew that there are many advantages to being a U.S. investor. But again, without mortgages, like for example, people I know personally who are investing in the States, many of them were using HELOC from their homes for the entire payment of the property they're buying. So to me, that's not the most efficient use of equity, of capital. So I've never taken US investing seriously, but Scott has now opened that door. As of this recording, Scott currently has 9 lenders in the US that will lend to, again, Canadians to buy income properties in the States. So Scott's opened the door. I've walked through it and now I've been going all in on my due diligence since August. Now, the last few months, especially with rates high, I've never been so frustrated as an Ontario landlord. For example, did you know a tenanted property? So I'm a realtor. I have lots of realtor friends across all over the city. Did you know that tenanted properties are getting next to no showings? In my nearly 2 decades of being a real estate investor, I have never seen showing volume so bad for turnkey income properties. And this includes like duplexes and triplexes. At the same time, like I mentioned, the LTB is broken. The landlord tenant board, it's broken. The allowable rent increase of 2.5% in Ontario, 3.5% in BC is so far below inflation. The government's anti-landlord rhetoric is so bad. Justin Trudeau is just bad-mouthing investors about how investors have commoditized real estate. I just witnessed a turnkey duplex in Hamilton sell for almost 30% off from the peak this past weekend. 30% it's off. They didn't even draw that many offers. But that's okay. I'm going to pivot to investing in the USA. But I am risk adverse. And I've seen so many deals go sideways. That's kind of partly the focus of the show. We have people on who've lost money. It's almost a requirement of coming on this show that you must share some way or somehow that you lost money on this show. So I know a million ways plus one of ways of losing money in real estate investing, plus all the other ways of investing. Also add to that my requirement that I do not like sharing investments. My wife and I, we do not take on investment partners. We like to keep all the equity to ourselves, including all the upside and all the upside returns. Then by fate, a past client of mine, Brent, introduced me to his friend Andrew. And it was as if the universe was telling me something. Again, I was looking for a solution to all of our problems here in Ontario as a landlord. And then it just so happened that I pay for my news. I subscribe to several news media outlets that I find offer some good content, balanced. Yeah. Anyways, so I just happened to read about Andrew Kim, who was introduced to me by Brent, about his startup, a tech AI-enabled asset management company in the Toronto Star, and again, Brent out of the blue just introduces me to Andrew, who is the subject of our interview. So first off, what is an asset manager? Let's first start with explaining what a property manager is, as most of us are familiar with that. Per ChatGPT, a property manager handles daily operations, tenant relations, maintenance, and rent collection to ensure the property runs smoothly. An asset manager manages the property manager, focuses on maximizing the property's value and investment returns, dealing with acquisitions, dispositions, means selling the property, trying to maximize value, and strategic financial planning, like when to refinance. For you investors who like to do BRRRR investments, there's a certain art to timing the refinance. Anyways, so that's what Andrew's company called Share does. It's spelled Share with all caps. And they specialize in single family rentals, which I'm down with. I'm okay to do more simple investing. Again, my theory that houses with basement apartments would be the best investments ever that theory has been strongly challenged by this current market, where we cannot even get showings for such property. Anyways, so I've invested the last 3 months in conducting due diligence on investing in the U.S. On Andrew's Share company, because I need boots on ground to help me execute these deals that I want to do in states for my own portfolio. Scott's Lens City. I've researched the competition. I've checked references on both companies. Well, I'm already a client of Scott's, so I know how he operates. And as a test, we delivered our first ever U.S. investing workshop to much success. The feedback rating from survey results was 9.5 out of 10. We'll announce our next one and it'll be in mid-January. It'll happen in mid-January. We raised $5,400 for charity for what I consider a win-win-win-win. That's the way I like it. It's a win for Andrew and Scott's businesses. It's a win for my business, iWIN Real Estate. The attendees loved it. I call that a win. Again, 9.5 out of 10. My joke is that even an Asian parent would be satisfied with the 9.5. And a win for charity, specifically the kids who will be receiving warm winter clothing from my charity, the Hamilton Basket Brigade. My trip to Atlanta was part of the due diligence on all this U.S. investing stuff, and it was in Atlanta, Georgia, which was hosted by Share, the U.S. asset manager. I invited along another really close friend of mine who's a successful real estate investor himself. We get to hang out with both CEO and CIO of Share, Chief Investment Officer Dimitri, who is a real estate investing wizard, having experienced the acquisition and managing of 20,000 apartment units, or over $7 billion worth of real estate, as an executive director of investments at Starlight Investments. And that was all Sunbelt USA properties. Dimitri easily has the most institutional experience of anyone I know personally. He's got way more experience underwriting deals and understand managing managers than anyone I know personally. Again, executive director of investments. And so Dimitri was along for the trip, and I had a million questions. And if you like to nerd out like I do, you can appreciate how I was super excited I was to be able to network with someone so highly qualified. Our tour of investment properties were in the suburbs of Atlanta. From what I can tell, crime just like Toronto, crime is usually focused mostly within the most dense areas. So we were in the suburbs where it's less dense. The tour was led by a national-wide institutional top-tier property management company who currently manages, at the time, they managed 2,000, but they just signed another 800. They just signed 800 more single-family houses in America from one institutional investor. So for a total of 2,800 single-family homes that they manage all across America, with 800 alone in the Atlanta area. So I'll categorize them as experts. I was thoroughly impressed by what I saw. They had well-oiled systems. They had reasonable renovation budgets and turnaround times, Actually, not reasonable. They're better than stuff I've seen done locally. That's just, I guess, what big outfits can do. No rent control. Did I mention no rent control? They actually looked at me like I was crazy when I told them about the 8-month backlog at the landlord tenant board and no rent control. The fact that we have rent control here, 2.5%. I had a self-imposed deadline to complete my due diligence by the end of the Atlanta trip to understand the asset I was investing in, plus operations, and just as importantly, to evaluate the leadership of Share, because they're going to be incredibly important to my power team to make sure that I'm successful. I'm a successful U.S. real estate investor. As we were exiting actually in a side story, as we were exiting the baggage area of Pearson Airport, so when we returned from Atlanta, flew back to Toronto, we're exiting the baggage area, we're walking out together, and we just happened, in front of us is a family with small kids. Mom and dad are pushing 3 fully loaded luggage carts. So when you pick up your luggage from the airport, you put it on a cart, they're pushing 3 of those carts, and they're full. Mom happens to be pushing 2 carts while she's trying to herd her small child who looks around 4. I take a step in their direction to help out. Andrew's actually closer than me. And Andrew, again, CEO of Share, he's been struggling the whole trip with back pain from his partially herniated disc. He's closer and he beats me to it. And he grabs one of the carts away from the mom to help her push it. What a Boy Scout. Like I was growing up. I now consider my due diligence complete, and hence I have some exciting news to share effective immediately. iWIN Real Estate, that's my company, that's me, is proud to announce a strategic partnership with Share, a Canadian real estate asset management company specializing in streamlining the end-to-end process of vetting, buying, and managing high-return single-family rental homes in the USA for investors. Using iWIN's influence in the Canadian real estate investor community, more frustrated everyday investors will have the opportunity to improve cash flow, diversify, and make real estate investing great again. By combining Share's U.S. investment experience and iWIN's commitment to delivering exceptional results and pioneering investment solutions, investors of all levels can have access to a wealth of benefits, from streamlined investment process, quality education, and coaching. Begin quote. Frustrated Canadian investors, especially in Ontario and BC, are looking for diversification in a more landlord-friendly environment and modern solutions, including supercharged systems where everything an investor needs exists under one roof, end quote, said Erwin Zito, me, founder of iWIN. Begin quote, together with Share, we aim to make direct ownership of income properties more affordable, profitable, less risk, and rewarding for the everyday mom and pop investors, end quote. So again, affordable meaning properties that I'm looking at are between $100,000 to $300,000 US. That's the purchase price of the properties. Back to the press release. Share offers investors a comprehensive suite of services for Canadians, including sourcing and acquiring high quality single-family rental homes in prime locations, professional property management, financing options, legal structuring, and investment portfolio diversification. To quote Andrew Kim, CEO and co-founder of Share, with Share's diversified inventory and proven track record of generating high returns, investors can access even more lucrative opportunities with less risk. Partnering with iWIN allows Share investors to tap into that passive income element and portfolio expansion, all the while knowing their assets are protected. And the press release. My plan is to continue operating iWIN Real Estate as we continue to we're carrying more listings, more properties for sale than we've ever had in my 13-year career. I think we're currently holding 14 listings right now. And many of them are income properties. They have tenants, not the easiest to sell in this market. Our offerings of real estate investments have simply expanded and so when a new investor comes to me and asks what should they invest in, I simply present to them a side-by-side comparison of, say, an $800,000 duplex here in Hamilton, Ontario, or a $1.2 million triplex versus a single-family home, again in the range of $100,000 to $300,000 US dollars. That cash flows better with all the benefits of a US investment that make it easier and less risk. So Canadian investors can decide for themselves what they prefer. Officially, I've joined Share's advisory board to guide the growth of the Canadian market in a part-time role. as I continue to maintain my full-time role as Chief Investment Officer for my family, for iWIN Real Estate, and to our hundreds of mom and pop investor clients, and my favorite people, some of my favorite people, are 17 listeners of this podcast. The truth about real estate investing is I haven't been this excited about real estate investing since legal duplexes in 2015. It's been a long time. And now with US investment properties on the table, I see a path to no longer having to subsidize the out of control housing inflation brought on by our dysfunctional, uncreative governments at all level. And we're gonna make real estate investing great again. If you're interested, just keep hanging on, to keep listening. The show doesn't change. It'll still be meant for Canadians. All of our events will still always have Canadian content targeted for Canadians. But again, from our survey results of our listenership, 91% of you want to hear more about US investing. So continue listening. Please like and subscribe. Let your friends know they have options outside of Canada to invest in somewhere where investors are welcome. All right. Have a great week. And we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming with interviews of real estate investors who have both wins and losses to share. Talk to you later. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link is also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.